Hello, everybody. This is After Dark with Dr. Mike. I'm Dr. Michael Coots, and sitting over here, the man behind the machine, Mr. Marty Menez. How you doing, Marty?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm pretty good, pretty good. And tonight's the night we're going to start our regular, or at least hopefully regular. It might have some times when there's not. But Hot Topics. And Hot Spots, that's right. Hot Topics is actually owned by Wendy Williams, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so to do our Hot Spots is Gwen. How you doing, Gwen?
I'm doing great, Dr. Mike.
So what kind of weird crap is going on in the world today?
Well, I tell you what, I sifted through a lot of stuff, and it didn't take me long to find the first crazoid.
Okay.
So, a high school baseball coach in Currituck County, North Carolina, has been suspended after he forced his players to spit on him.
Oh, he has a fetish. He must like that.
That's what I thought.
Spit on me, please.
Yes. Justin Hill, who coaches at Currituck County High School, was suspended for one game on April 17th, almost 2 weeks after the spitting incident on April 6th. WAVY.com reports. Sources told the station that Hill was angry when 9 players skipped practice on Friday, April 3rd. So angry. Wouldn't you want to spit on them?
Well, that'd probably be kind of against the law, but maybe he combined his fetish with a sort of self-loathing punishment.
Oh, somehow that picture, I'm going to go to bed tonight and see that. That's horrible.
As Marty always likes to say, some things cannot be unseen.
It's true.
Yeah, this is crazy. So anyway, so he was angry at the 9 players who skipped the practice, and what happened? He called their tardiness disrespectful, according to FayObserver.com, and that was his way of kind of hitting home the point, I guess, that them being late. You
were late, so just spit on me. You might as well just spit on me. I'm a nothing.
You know, this is so wrong on so many levels. Hill eventually apologized to the team, according to WKBN. Neither Hill nor school officials have responded to media inquiries.
Wow. That's, that's something I'll remember for a while.
You know, I wonder if they would have sat there and he would have gotten the same satisfaction if he told them to spit in their hands and then spear it on his face.
Or pee on him.
Hey, that might be the next episode. That might be the next episode. Who knows?
Curse me with your boots, sir.
You know what? Nothing against North Carolina. Well, actually, yes. There is something against North Carolina when you've got a high school coach asking people to spit on their face. I'm sure that's not the first incident.
No.
You think?
Probably not if he's that weird. Or pop a squat on his chest or something.
Oh, okay. You'll like this one.
Okay.
It says, shh, Satan's in my book bag.
Oh, my God.
A man told police he was on a military mission when caught shoplifting on Sunday afternoon at a supermarket in East Athens. Robert Anthony LeSueur, 36, was arrested at the Kroger on College Station Road for drinking a soda and eating a beef stick, then trying to leave the store without paying, police said. Police said store managers caught LeSueur attempting to leave and held him until an officer arrived. LeSueur first explained that someone on the internet, okay, there you go, had told him, hearing voices, what's that? Schizoid?
Well, some schizoids hear voice, schizophrenia, psychosis, all kinds of fun things.
Yeah, someone on the internet told him to come get those items. The officer wrote in an incident report. While speaking with LeSueur, it became apparent to the officer that he has some sort of issue, which was blacked out in a copy of the officer's report made public on Monday. He stated that he works for SEAL Team 6. I thought they went through psychological, profiles and stuff.
Serious stuff, but this guy might have thought he worked for SEAL Team 6.
That's what I'm thinking. And he was on a special mission, the officer wrote in the report. He also informed me that he had caught Satan and had him in a bottle in his book bag.
See, that's what really messes me up, because obviously it was a genie and not Satan, okay? Geez, some people just don't know what they're doing.
I don't think this guy even knew where he lived. Whatever issues LeSueur might have, he still was arrested and booked into the Clark County Jail on a theft by shoplifting charge.
Well, that is the first step on the way to the state hospital.
And no word if they release Satan.
Oh, no,
Or if
probably
he's
not.
booked into evidence for his waiting court date for this guy.
Oh, man, just think of the deal you can make to get him out of that.
Yeah. What, sell your soul to the devil?
No, you wouldn't even have to. You just say, okay, for this in return, I'll take the top off the bottle.
Yeah, that would scare a few people. Bovine crime. You know me, and I like farm animals.
Hey, be careful how you say what you say.
Okay, Dr. Mike, I knew you would go there. But in a good way. You know, I remember.
I know
on
you
your
like
show,
petting zoos
like,
and all that fun stuff.
2-3 years ago, we actually introduced the world to the screaming sheep.
Oh, yes.
Or screaming goats.
Screaming goats.
And then just recently, Sprint had it on commercial.
Yep.
And now everybody's in love with screaming goats. And it's like, no, if you had been a fan of Dr. Mike, you'd have heard that. That was old news. But anyway.
That's very true.
Anyway, Southampton, Massachusetts, Associated Press. The vandals that damaged a Massachusetts cemetery this week have pleaded moo.
What?
Police say a small herd of cows knocked over 40 American flags and veterans' bronze grave markers, then sacked on a few flower arrangements at the Center Cemetery in Southampton on Monday. Motorists called to report that the cows were loose. Police contacted the owner, Henry Wiskowski, who caught and removed the cows from the cemetery. Chief David Silvernail says the cows are an ongoing problem, and his department has responded to complaints about the roaming bovines 3 or 4 times since last spring. That's not too many times. Cemetery Commission member tells the Daily Hampshire Gazette he plans on asking the farmer to pay for the damage once he comes up with an estimate.
So a bunch of rogue bovines.
Yes, so the cows won't be getting too much of a allowance.
Oh, my God.
Their allowance will be cut in two.
Well, I think it makes up for when they get hooked up to the milking machine. Oh, God. More. Oh, never mind. Go ahead.
Yeah, we saw that on
Family
Guy. Yeah, orgasmic milking cow. Cow being milked. Now from cows to dildos.
Oh. Dildos. Those are little things that look like penguins, right?
No.
Oh, okay. Those other things like bees. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, not bees. I think a little stronger than that. But anyway.
Cucumbers?
Designer dildo contains loved one's ashes.
Oh, my God. Oh, I was ready to hear that one.
It's
okay.
a sex toy that someone, maybe you, will be dying to use. Oh, jeez. Ba-dum-bum.
I think Marty's in shock over there. He's just like, what?
Dutch designer Mark, Sturkenboom.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
That's just created a sex toy that includes a mini urn to hold the cremated remains of that special someone. The erotically shaped urn is part of 21 Grams, a memory box devised by Sturkenboom to help grieving people feel the presence of their loved ones.
Oh, my God.
That's too bizarre.
No.
The title refers to the purported weight of the human soul. There was a movie. Did you ever see that, Marty? 21 Grams?
I'm familiar with the concept, but I've never seen the movie.
Yeah, allegedly the human soul weighs approximately that.
And that has actually been debunked now. It's been based on a now discredited study by Dr. Douglas McDougall, an early 20th century physician who weighed patients before and after death to see if there was a change in weight, according to Snoops.com. So I guess that 21 grams, we know where it is. It's the dildo.
Oh, I can't get over the fact that he actually waited till they died. What do you do? Put them on a bed, make sure they were alive and well, and smack them in the head with a hammer, and then they pass away, and you'd be like, okay, let's weigh them out now. Could be blood loss,
I vaguely remember that it was something like he went up to people he had in a hospital, and it was way back, and they, he told, I think, the sisters who were caring for these dying patients to let him know. They recognized when people were getting ready to expire and die, and he told the sisters, call me not on a cell phone, because obviously it was before cell phones. Don't joke.
Send a messenger for me, sir.
Send a raven.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Game
of Thrones. There.
So the nurses or the sisters would go ahead and send word to the doctor that they had a very critically ill patient, and they felt that that was probably going to be their last time, their last few hours. And he would come and like sit near their bed, and they'd weigh the patient, and he'd wait for them to expire. And as soon as he felt they took their last breath and he declared them dead, then he would weigh them again. And apparently there was a difference of like 21 grams, and he assigned it that their soul was actually leaving their body. And he said that that was how much the soul weighed. And so I didn't realize that that was full of crap, since then. But anyway, if you say 21 grams, I wonder if that's the dildo's name. 21 grams?
Oh, my Lord.
That's who thinks of this stuff?
How about 21 volts?
That would work.
Or go crazy, 21 amps.
Oh,
it's cooking now.
Oh, that's yeah, 21 amps.
Yeah.
Wouldn't somebody get killed that way?
Depends if it broke or cracked. Yeah, the old metal penis could fry him right there.
Well, it gives a new meaning to. Can we say the F word?
You can say whatever you want.
Okay.
Yeah, fucking A, you can say the fuck word.
It gives the new meaning to fuck you. It's like, you cremate somebody and put him in the dildo, and then you give it to him and say, fuck you.
Yeah, but they say it's relatives. I wonder if it's
Relatives?
like, this is my daddy.
Oh, no. No. There's some subjects that we're going to stay away from tonight, okay?
What's the matter, Marty?
Well, because that whole thing, those are issues. In fact, you know what? Those aren't even issues. That's a subscription. Yeah.
Subscription and prescription.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Electroshock.
Release the opiates.
Okay, this is from Croatia. His junk has a trunk. A Croatian man had an elephant's trunk tattooed onto his penis, despite being warned of the pain. Salon staff at the Jojo and Knopf tattoo parlor in Zagreb told the unnamed man he would need to return at least 10 times to treat painful itching. Holy cow. If he wants to... Okay, let me finish this and then I'll go on. He still insisted, and we finally tattooed the trunk onto his penis, an employee told Tabloid 24 SATA, talking about the most bizarre tattoos they've done. We try to tell people it is hard to erase it later, but they still go for tattoos they want, the tattoo artist added.
So if this dude goes to a party and somebody goes, look, there's an elephant trunk in the chips, and he's just standing there with his wang hanging out.
Just don't double dip.
Oh, good God, it was disgusting.
That,
what's on the chips? They're sticky.
I would worry. I bet if they check this guy's rap sheet, he probably has something having to do with going to zoos after hours and being caught in elephant pens. I don't know. Just saying. If he's going to go to that extent to put it on his penis.
Moving along now. What's our next story tonight?
One last thing.
Oh, Lord.
If it's painful to get it on there and he decides later on maybe his animal fetish has moved from elephants to something else, could you imagine just how painful it would be for him to have that tattoo removed?
No, just have the head changed like an anaconda. Look kind of the same.
But that's if he has an anaconda fetish.
Or a python or a boa. They all look the same.
Or as Jeremy Wade says, it's a fish! It's a fish! It's a fish!
Fish online, fish online.
Yeah. Okay.
That was horrid.
Okay, I'll give you a choice between these last couple here. Chimp or priest?
Well, both of them are probably pretty fucked up, so shoot, go for the chimp first.
The chimp?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do this. Chimp goes ape for porn.
Okay, I kind of thought something like that was going to come up.
No family-friendly shows for this gal. A female chimpanzee at the Seville Zoo in Spain watched porn every chance she got.
Oh.
Primatologist Pablo Herreras wrote over the weekend in El Mundo. Gina the chimp was supplied with a remote control and several channels to watch on TV, and within days focused on the adult action, as many of us would have done, Herreros said. Herreros, who observed Gina a few years ago in a tour of Spain's zoos, said her behavior surprised him, but proved that primates, like humans, possess an intense sexual life. Of course, media outlets went ape over the story. That's one horny chimp, while an Australian news site quipped, maybe Gina needs to get out more.
Oh, my God. He's the kind of guy that probably walks around to other guys. Remember the first time you blew a chimp? You know, or something like that.
Oh, my God. And, of course, her significant other presented her with a 21 grams dildo.
Oh, good God.
You know.
Because it wasn't a male monkey, though, because they have one arm look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'll put on the movies again. I want to play with myself. Yeah. Notice, dead silence. Okay, moving right along.
I'll be back.
I'll be back as soon as I form up.
Okay. So we'll do our priest here.
Hello, priest.
Yes. Priest plus handcuffs plus gags equal 911.
I think it's going to be worse than the monkey story.
By Newser. An Illinois priest made a very awkward 911 call back in November. That's just now coming to light. Yeah. Keep that under wraps. Father Tom Donovan told the dispatcher he needed help getting out of a pair of handcuffs he had been, quote-unquote, playing with. I'm going to need help before this becomes a medical emergency, he says in a garbled voice in the recording obtained by the Illinois Times. When police arrived at the church where Donovan was alone in the rectory, they found the priest, who was also gagged. How do you make that call then?
Well, wait a minute. Did you say rectory or rectum?
Tomato.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Good call,
He
Marty.
had a gag. It must have, like, pooped it out of his mouth.
I don't know. Not surprisingly, the diocese doesn't have much to say on the matter, but it did acknowledge that Donovan was granted a leave of absence sometime before Christmas. He approached Bishop Thomas Paraki before the incident became news. He came to the bishop and asked for help and was granted leave.
I wonder what the bishop said. I remember when that first happened to me. No offense to the Catholic Church.
Oh, yes.
Oh, jeez.
No, offense is taken where there is some to be had. There's enough to go around.
Can't wait till those comments roll in.
Okay.
You anti-Catholic bastards.
No, I went to Catholic schools, and I'm telling you, it was like Sodom and Gomorrah in college. And I was shocked, I tell you, at the debauchery. And needless to say, I was glad to graduate. And I moved out of the dorms at my first possible opportunity.
Well, I remember something like that myself. I was traveling in South Georgia. I pulled into a out-of-the-way backcountry service station. Woo! I'll never forget that. The debauchery that was going on there was something terrible. I asked to say, do you have a restroom? And, of course, their answer was, sure enough, it's round back. Never
Around
mind.
which back? Your back? Somebody else's back? What? No, what do you call it? Deliverance.
Well, before we get into the show, squeal like a pig. I guess it was not too awful long ago that in New York City, it actually happened in New York and in Los Angeles both. There's a report going around that a group of homosexual necrophiliacs, and this is news, I'm not trying to do a fucking documentary here, I'm just repeating news. They were sitting there, and apparently they had contacted several of the funeral homes wanting to know if they paid a certain amount of money, if they could have a couple hours alone with the freshest male corpse. And that was a news story that happened in New York and in Los Angeles.
I'm sorry. I'm going to go take a shower now.
I know. It's kind of like, some poor guy laying on a slab. The only thing he's thinking about.
Thinking he's at peace.
Yeah. And life can still fuck you after you die, But that was a true story. That was a real story. I'm not trying to do some journalistic reporting here. That just simply happened. It was a real thing. So tonight, after after that, I don't know what we could really talk about that would be, comparable, because those actually leaves it open for at least a good 8 different discussions we could have. But I think one of the biggest things that's going on right now is this hate nonsense that's going on with in Baltimore. Well, actually, it's going on in many places. I guess Baltimore is just getting the brunt of it right now. And Marty and I have been talking about this earlier, and Gwen and I have been talking about it earlier. And it just seems that this stuff keeps happening, and police officers and sheriff's department people, whatever, they all know it. And they say, okay, if this happens, then this is going to happen. This is going to be the consequence. Yet it still keeps happening. I don't understand. You'd think they would understand that if they do some really stupid shit like that it's going to come back to bite them in the ass. Yet you hear about it every week. Something going on. Now, in Baltimore, it's like, a war zone, and they refuse to release the report when they promised they would release it this Friday. And Marty and I was talking earlier, and it almost seems... Well, go ahead. What were you saying, Marty? You can come out of your shock zone now.
Well, one of the things that I was talking about was that it seems like there are those who really enjoy everybody at each other's throats.
Yeah.
They love the division that all this creates, and it's kind of like they really want it to happen. The perfect example was the mayor setting an odd precedent, saying stand down, telling the police department to stand down and let it escalate. In every sort of psychological training that you receive in de-escalation, in getting people to calm down, you never allow them to ramp it up to the point to where they're in frenzy, and then you have to bring them back down. The whole idea is to never let them escalate in the first place. And so it's an odd precedent for a mayor to allow a riot to happen. No. Let it happen. No, if they're going to loot, they're just going to loot. Let it happen.
Well,
what?
She actually used the word to destroy, but she did come out later to try to clarify her comments. But of course, the horse was already out of the barn
Right.
at that point. And I think she misspoke, and she realized it. And everybody makes mistakes, but as a public official, you have to be so careful. And especially with her being a black public official, and realizing how sensitive there have been incidents after incidents after incidents, and I think at the root of this underlying percolating under the surface is that police departments, law enforcement agencies, are steps behind the social media, where people have access to cell phones and they are being videotaped and they're being watched more than they ever have.
Oh yeah.
And they're still I think they're still operating their status quo, and they don't realize that they have to sit there and it's far more than just saying, okay, be careful. It's a matter of you have to rethink what you're doing, because you can't get away with all the crap that's been done for generations or for not centuries, but for decades.
No, probably centuries. You go back to stuff that happened hundreds of years ago. It was the same stuff.
Yeah, you're probably
just that
right.
they clubbed people or shot them with bow and arrows or crossbows or whatever.
And their word was it.
Yes.
And there was nothing. But what's disturbing about it is you sit there, and even having it on videotape, they don't believe it. You take it to the attorney general, or you take it to the special prosecutor or whoever, and here you've got video evidence, and they still find ways to get around. Well, what happened before the video started? What happened after the video ended? Or, there was a stop in it, a gap. Well, what happened? And then they say, well, the audio would help. Well, then you get the audio with that Eric Garner case there in New York, the man who was selling the cigarettes illegally outside of the liquor store. and they jumped him, and he said, I can't breathe, and they're still tackling him. And I'm sitting here thinking, even with the audio tape, they still didn't believe it. What more do you have to have, for police to be held accountable?
Well, is it in their best interest to hold them accountable? Because they are the enforcement branch of government.
Yes.
They are the
yes.
Police enforce the will of those in power. And so if they all of a sudden go against those that are enforcing the power's will law enforcement continue to do so? Will they continue to keep your secrets? How long will you stay in power if you prosecute those that are doing your bidding?
Yeah. Well, and that's a good point, and I see where that's going, and it makes sense. But there still comes a time where, it has to be meted out equally. Even if it's not equally, at least the appearance of equal protection under the law. Well, even just fake it and make it look good. But it's not.
The first thing that comes to my mind is the old Richard Pryor joke, and it's not even a joke. It's like he had to say it in comedy, because if he said it out loud in the context in which it really needed to be said, he would have been labeled a radical and they would have thrown him in jail. But he said, yeah, just us. Just us. There is no justice. It's just us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. But when you look at it, based on what you two have been talking about, this is something kind of related but not related. And that is, if anybody is into like Jeremy Wade and River Monsters, on one of his new shows, they said there's these freshwater sharks in Alaska, they thought, that was killing people, fishermen disappearing, boats coming in, nobody's on it. And so what he did was he got in a boat with his crew and his cameras and everything and a guide, and he was throwing little fish into the water and then pulling it back real fast, and the sharks were getting angry because they could almost get this food and they couldn't. So they got amped up and angry and went into a frenzy. Then he goes, well, I'm going to get into the water with this wetsuit on just to see if they'll bite. And it was horrible thinking, like, oh my God, he's allowed it to go to this point. Now he's going to step in and see what they do to him. But at the same time, everybody's like, whoa, this is going to be so cool.
I'm going to watch him.
Yeah, maybe he'll get bit. Maybe they'll attack him. Wow, this is pretty awesome. And it's the same idea behind it, is that let him go, let him go. And, if Mr. Wade had been bitten by one of those sharks, you better believe that the crew and the guide and everyone that was there would have started like harpooning them or whatever the hell they do to sharks. And it's the same thing. Oh my God, look what they've done. Better get the National Guard in. Better get the cops in there. Get the rapid response team. We're going to have to shoot some of these people. They're out of hand now. Right. And it's almost like let them go to the point where we have no other choice but to really come down hard on them. Make an example.
Exactly. And when you really think about it, why would you want to riot in your own location? Why would you want to riot in your own neighborhood? If you're going to do something and you want to, hey, you know what? It's time for torches and pitchforks. It's time to rally. It's time for us to get together. Where are you going to go? Where should you go? You take it to those in power, not in your own location. You take it to them. This way, it's kind of like one of the first rules of combat. It's either offensive or defensive.
Yeah.
So you put them on the defensive right away. Don't let them, put you on the defensive. You take it to them.
Right.
But it just makes me wonder if that's part of it too. It's okay, let it happen there because there we can contain it there. Well, there aren't going to be too many people who are upset there.
But let's look at it this way. If we let people, as a government, I'm speaking as a government, playing the devil's advocate, if you will. Satan and I talked about it earlier. It's cool. He said it's fine. I can use his voice. Oh, it's fine. So basically, you let them go in their own neighborhood. Keep them contained. Let them go crazy.
Yep.
Go hog wild bullshit crazy, man. Burn, destroy, roll cars over, raise stuff to the ground. Get rid of it. Then they come in, arrest everyone, say, look what you did to this neighborhood. We're going to have to rebuild it. But because you disrespected it and you tore it down, we're going to do regentrification. There's all kinds of white folks and some black folks and some brown folks and some yellow folks who's got millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars who would love to live in this part of town, but they can't live it like this. So we're going to have to build these really marvelous, wonderful condos and apartments and a few houses, and they get to have them because you did this. And off you go. You're being pushed further away, further out.
Disenfranchised.
Disenfranchising, exactly.
Urban Renewal 101.
Yes, absolutely. It's a horrible way to do it, but how many places has it happened? Atlanta, New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco,
DC.
Washington, D.C. All of these places, they let them go.
Yeah.
They get crazy, get frenzied. Oh, look what you did. Well, we got a lot of people with money want to come in here, so bye-bye.
Yep.
Look what you made us do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're not responsible for what you did, so you're out of here.
I think another reason, like you were saying, about letting them just go ahead and go crazy, just keep them confined in that area and tear down their own neighborhood, is as long as the attention is focused in on the disruptors or labeled disruptors, not people who are seeking justice, people who are seeking answers to something that was done very, very wrong to them, and they're in the neighborhood and one of their loved ones. It keeps the focus off of people, like you said, in power who do have those secrets and are probably doing a lot worse, but it's white collar crime.
Right.
Not blue collar and murder, but they're robbing, they're just embezzling or stealing stuff and, making millions off the backs of the taxpayers by, these backdoor deals and in secret and in private. They're still doing their own thing. As long as you keep the focus on people that are, upset and angry, and how you can sit there and isolate a small part of the population and demonize them.
That's right.
Then the focus can't be put where it probably needs to be, and what's wrong with the system and how people in power are taking advantage of people who are not in a powerful position.
Well, at the same time, it's like Marty and I was talking earlier. You do this, you let them go, it becomes the focus of the nation is on Baltimore. And then when it's resolved, then another incident will happen in Detroit or New York or Los Angeles, someplace, Fargo, North Dakota, wherever the hell.
Probably Texas is next.
Well, that's a whole new world within itself. But, and it takes the focus off the real news. Okay, like the U.S. troops going into Yemen. We're not supposed to be screwing around over there, but we're having troops going to Yemen. And we're having troops go here, and we're having troops go there. And politicians saying this and saying that, oh my God, you don't want me to veer off on that one.
Right, it muddies the water enough to obfuscate whatever they're really doing.
Well, let's take a look real quick. I have to say this because Ted Cruz the other day, and it's just since we're talking about newsworthy stuff, okay, down demon. What else? Ted Cruz came on and on national TV and said that every time a gay couple gets married, and I don't know how he did the math on this because, I got a PhD, but I still can't figure this out,
You won't.
The mathematics just doesn't add up. But he said every time a gay couple gets married, it causes 900,000 abortions. And the newsman said, well, how did you come up with that? And he goes, what we need to do this Tuesday is we need to get down on our hands and knees and pray while the justices are deciding if gay marriage can be legal. That's what we need to do as a nation, is get down on our knees, everyone, and pray this doesn't happen. And it just takes my mind, like somebody like Bobcat Goldthwait would say, I lift off my skull, my brain flies off somewhere else. Because what difference does it make to anyone in power, in politics, in clergy for that matter, since so many clergy people are doing wrong things anyway, premarital sex, having affairs, sex with kids, sex with each other, whatever, And if you're so concerned about what a man and a man does with their genitalia, or what a woman and a woman does with their genitalia, when we've got starvation, we've got fighting, we've got hatred, we've got real problems, real crimes, and real political issues that need to be resolved, and you're worried about what a man is going to do with a man or a woman with a woman as long as it's consenting, I think it's a fucking retard, Sorry, Mr. Cruz, that's just my personal opinion, which I'm entitled to. But when you hear stuff like that, and again, the news, what's going on? Why are they allowing these people to have this riot when people are doing stuff like that? Are they doing something behind the scenes? And when it's over, they come pop out and go, oh, well, this is what the vote was. Or, oh, this is what happened on that. And you're going, really? I don't remember hearing anything about it. Really? Did that happen? I don't remember hearing about that.
Well, they had
of course not.
They had that summit or forum that all the presidential candidates, went to. Like all 18, 20 of them or something.
Instead of the ice bucket challenge, the asshole challenge. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And it just dropped off the earth because the Baltimore story just sucked up the oxygen in the room. And you're not hearing any of the gaffes, any of the stupidity, any of the ideas that are being floated around, or people open mouth, insert foot, and hate speak. Radical ideas that
they all can get together, so the main man in charge who's making it all happen can say the force is strong in this one. The evil power, the evil empire. It's true.
Well, because they want you to be divided in every single way that they possibly can divide you.
Yeah.
Whether it's sexual orientation, how much money you have, the color of your skin, the location in which you live in a particular city.
Yeah. That's a stone cold truth.
You name it, they want to divide you in any possible way, because a house divided against itself cannot stand.
Correct.
And when you're fighting amongst yourselves, you're not worried about how the politicians are giving themselves raises. They've been in office for 35 years doing what? Absolutely nothing but giving themselves raises, making sure that their kids don't have to pay back student loans. The list goes on and on and on. And since we're so divided against each other, we can never come together and put an end to that shit.
Well, that's absolutely correct. But the division is a very predominant thing in our lives, in our communities, everything. And a very good example of that is I was talking to a very good friend of mine the other day, and we were talking about, initially we were talking about camping, and then we were talking about fishing, then we were talking about guns. Just sports things to do. I don't believe in hunting, so we weren't talking about that, if you're thinking that. We were just talking about target shooting and all these different things. And right in the middle of the conversation, he goes, I hope those damn gays don't get passed on that. And I was like, what? He goes, this thing about gay marriage that's coming up? I hope they don't get it. I was like, why? Do you feel left out? Do you feel like maybe possibly you're jealous because there's a particular guy? I thought he was going to stab me. And we've been friends for 35 years. I was like, dude, are you serious? Are you this crazy about this? Oh, yeah, because I was like, my God, we were just talking about camping and outdoor activities. You want to talk about maybe hunger or war or destruction or something? Maybe the drought? Maybe that would calm you down some, because I really don't give a shit what two guys do together or two women, And he was dead serious. And I was like, where the hell did that even come from? It wasn't even part of our conversation. It just popped out.
Well,
like a time bomb.
It comes from some place. There's someone who brings these things up, and it's an old tactic. One of the tactics is this: you blame a particular segment of society for your woes. You say,
Jews.
Yeah, whether it's gypsies, whether it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's what those in power do. They blame a particular cross-section of society for those woes, and they say it loud enough and often enough to where those who really aren't thinking about it, they believe it. They fall into it.
Or paying attention.
Exactly. And it helps them marginalize and keep each other divided. That's this hate thing. It's it's not about the hate. It's about power and maintaining power.
Well, it's like you were saying. It's the subconscious planting of a thought, an idea, or even in hatred that you hear so often becomes implanted in your brain, and you believe it to be truth. And a good example is people say, "Spare the rod, spoil the child," or they say something like, "God helps those who help themselves." And I'll say, "Where did you come up with that? You know, where do you hear that?" It's in the Bible. No, it's not. It's not in any interpretation of the Bible, in any book of the Bible, anywhere in the Bible, even the books that were left out of the Bible because they were considered too radical. It's not in the Bible anywhere. But they'll swear up and down it's in Genesis, it's in this, it's in that, it's whatever, because it's been implanted in their brain.
That's
so
right.
So when you see a homeless person, a real homeless person, there are people who are homeless by choice. Don't make a mistake. Then there are real homeless people who have nowhere to go. And you see one of these people and they go, "Well, God helps those who help themselves." So you don't feel so bad about it because you didn't give them $1 or a quarter or whatever. And you and I have encountered that when we've been out together, meeting, going over stuff, eating, whatever, so many times. You know, yeah, I'll give somebody $1, $2, a vet, whatever. I don't care. But you hear these other people like, "Oh, God helps those who help themselves." And where did that come from? It came from the Bible. No, I'm sorry. It's nowhere in any version of the Bible. Yet the implant is there, from society, from government, from whoever it is that's planting it.
Right.
And you believe it's true.
You mean like you can't fight City Hall.
Exactly.
Well, you can't do anything about it anyway. What are you going to do about it? There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you can do about it. Oh, wait. There's nothing you can do about it. You hear it often enough, loud enough, you just believe it to be true.
But what happens when you do fight it? You wind up in the back of the room with 8 cops holding you down going, "Don't tase me, dude. Don't tase me."
Yeah, but you see, that happens when you were one person.
Exactly. I was just going to bring that
One
up.
person is going, "Don't tase me, bro. Don't tase me, bro."
Yeah.
But when you've got a street full of people saying the exact same thing, saying, "You know what? We have a grievance. And we want a resolution to this grievance." When you have a large number of people with torches and pitchforks, you're going, "Uh-oh.
Yeah.
We need to get a handle on this because this is not good." You don't see them getting tased. Just saying.
Depends. I mean, look at Ferguson. They might not get tased, but you wind up in the hospital because you got tear gas or pepper spray that burns your lungs. I mean, I know what you're saying. If you get enough people together, it makes a statement.
But what are they doing? We've got plenty of examples in our history of how to there's a right way to get things done and a wrong way to get things done. Okay? One of the reasons why they had to get rid of Martin Luther King Jr. is because he wanted people to come together and come together in a nonviolent way.
Right.
To get the point across. You know what? That's dangerous because when you are those in power and there are people doing absolutely nothing to justify the violence that you are giving to them, and all of a sudden those in power look bad. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're in Ferguson, if you're in Baltimore, and you see cars on fire, stores getting looted, well, guess what? Public opinion is going to sway.
Yes.
But
absolutely.
when you've got something like Kent State, okay, when you've got people being sprayed with a fire hose, and they're doing absolutely nothing but trying to stand there and be heard. They're not rioting. They're not doing anything but other than trying to be heard. Then how does public opinion turn? It goes against those in power. And that's what needs to be done. If you're going to protest, if you're going to do these things, you have to do it in a nonviolent way. You have to do it in a way to where public opinion will go your way. And those in power will have to say, "Oh, man, what are we going to do? They've got us. We need something."
Well, Kent State, that was a peaceful protest until now. This is an important thing here. You can have 2,000 people protesting, making noise, okay? And 2 or 3, just 2 or 3, can turn the tide against that 2,000 peaceful people, those 2,000 peaceful people. It only takes 2 or 3 people, or even one if they're good at it, to turn the entire thing. And then what happened at Kent State was all these students were out there, and they were putting flowers in the barrels of the guns and all these different types of things. And a couple of students had collected their own feces and put it in plastic bags and started throwing it in the faces of the guards, which then they opened fire, which made David Niven, a very famous actor, comedian, yes, at that time, come up with the old saying of, the only thing worse, and because many people were shot that didn't do it, they were just close, and he came up with, the only thing worse than throwing shit at a man with a loaded gun is standing next to a man throwing shit at a man with a loaded gun. And that's what happened at Kent State. Right. 2 or 3 people caused the death of, what, was it 9 people?
Yeah, but
10 people?
But here's the question. Is your life in danger when you are on the other end, when you're the person with a rifle? Is your life in danger?
Well, it's the frustration factor. It's like Mahatma Gandhi said, peace. And what happened to him? He got shot.
That's right.
And killed him. Because every time they went up against the British, he told them to sit down, fold their hands, and the British commenced to beat the hell out of them with clubs.
Right.
And it was working. Not on the part of the British. That was just mean.
Public opinion started to sway.
Exactly. And so the final step to that was when the Muslims decided to go north and the Hindus stay south, and the Muslims created Pakistan, and then the Hindus stayed in India. There was such a division at the time. Whoever the power the powers that were in charge said this is the time. And what happened during the height of that? Somebody shot Gandhi and killed him because they were distracted. Why did the people want to go north in the first place? A lot of people say the British said, you should get out of here. Got land up there, go. And created such a diversion and such a situation that everybody was paying attention to that, and somebody walked right up to Gandhi less than 3 feet and shot him and killed him.
That's right.
And so, I guess if you keep it together and keep focused, you could definitely make changes, and public opinion would sway in your way. However, as soon as somebody sees a crack in the armor, a chink in the armor, what's going to happen? The knife's going to get slid in.
I'm not saying that if you do it the right way, that you aren't going to realize your mortality. But what I am saying is...
That's a classy way of saying getting killed. That's such a nice way of saying getting your head blown off, Marty.
But what I am saying is there will be change.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You may not be around to see it, but it'll happen.
The perfect example, one of my favorite people, one of my favorite historical figures.
You mean me, right?
Well, besides you. Something that changed my life drastically was reading about Malcolm X. Okay. I read his interviews. I read a lot of his speeches. I watched the Denzel Washington movie, which was amazing. There's the violent side, and then there's the side to where it's nonviolent. And when you realize how much power that actually has, the nonviolent side, everybody realizes at that moment, oh no, that's too much, and we can't let him go any further because, now we're in trouble. He's got to go. Everybody
that's exactly what happened to him,
realizes that they've got to go. But there is change. There is change.
Well, wasn't Martin Luther King who said a man who does not have something worth dying for is not worth living? And he didn't mean that in a negative way. He just meant that if you cannot stand up strong enough and hard enough and convinced and compassionate enough and passionate enough for something, then what are you doing?
Right.
Like so many people today, as long as they got that TV on and they've got their armchair and they got their 6-pack, well, probably more like a 12-pack today, but that's fine. You look at it on TV, it's not real. It's like putting a DVD in or a Blu-ray, you know, and you're watching it on TV like, ooh, that looks crazy.
Right.
You know.
But how much of that is actually staged? How much of that is real? And something also to think about, how easy would it be? Say you are a media broker. Say you're a Ted Turner. Say you're a Murdoch. Okay.
Good Lord, you had to pick two of the bottom dwellers, didn't you?
Yeah, of course. Of course. I'm going somewhere with this.
Okay.
How easy would it be to maybe see things from a different angle? Get people to say things that, well, they're close to true, but not really true. To where you make the entire country say this. Let's just take a pretend location, okay? We'll call it Dr. Mikesville.
You always use Dr. Mike something, man.
Yeah,
Come on.
yeah.
People think I have a really shitty bunch of real estate. You know?
So in Dr. Mikesville, the media shows up and they say this event happened. But this event really never happened. Because how do people get their news now? At one time, we used to talk to each other. We used to know who our neighbors were. We used to have close friends. We used to have these intricate methods of communication. They were very personal.
Like the
methods.
village crier and stuff like that.
Yeah. To where we would actually have conversations like we're having right now,
Right.
but all the time. The conversations that we're having right now are very rare. Everybody is in their own personal little prison. They're all in their homes. They've got their little big screen TV. They've got cable, and they watch the world happen on that television. That television can tell you anything happens. They could tell you that monkeys fly out of Dr. Mike's butt.
And
you know
keep
what?
that a secret until the
Oh,
universe.
damn, they found out.
If there was video to go along with it in that segment, they would go, holy crap, did you see that? You'd see it shared on Facebook.
Yeah.
You would see it everywhere.
Twitter,
and there would actually,
everywhere.
there would actually be people that would say, wow, I can't believe that. Is there a vaccine for that? We call your congressman, call your doctor. 'Cause somebody's got to
Make
do
an
something about
appointment.
that. Yeah, but do you see what I mean? They
absolutely.
can make anything happen because we are so encapsulated.
We
are
don't think for ourselves a
No.
lot of times. We rely on people telling us, digesting and regurgitating, and we live in sound bites.
we do.
And if it's too much beyond a sound bite, you lose most of the people.
Nobody has the time to do the research to find out what really happened. People are no longer tied to the community in which they live. Nobody has time to do much of anything other than go to work, go home, eat a little something, go to bed, wake up, go back to work again,
Trying
start
to
all over.
survive.
Yeah.
Trying to survive.
Well, you got a good example is who's this guy that did the shows? He did Lincoln and he did Killing Jesus.
Bill O'Reilly.
Bill O'Reilly, thank you. I've actually had people tell me, did you know Jesus did this? Did you know? I was like, where in the hell did you hear that? Oh, I saw Killing Jesus. It was, like you said, Bill O'Reilly. I was like, read the Bible, dipshit. That's probably closer to the truth. On that show, you and I were looking at it, and one of the guys was fighting a Roman soldier, and he takes his arms and he steps them out in front of him and folds his wrists back, and knives shoot out of his sleeves, and he stabs the soldier twice and runs off. I'm like, gee, I didn't know, like back in the days of Jesus, they had
the Avengers.
Yeah, Wolverine
Superman.
or something. If that was the case, geez, the Roman army could have taken that from them and taken over the entire world, not just part of it. And it's such bullshit that people will believe. This guy's telling me, oh, did you know? And I was like, wow. I thought you had an IQ of about 170. I think I see you more as a 58 now, It's so stupid because people truly do believe what they watch.
That's
it's like
right.
me watching Big Mama's House, and going, wow, that was an incredible documentary. What is it that came out years ago with Daryl Hannah, was it? Clan of the Cave Bear? And David Letterman was interviewing some guy, and it was a couple of surfers, so you got to give credit where credit's due, right? And one of them looked at him and said, that was an incredible documentary, dude. And I'm like,
Wow.
yeah, they had cameras and microphones back in those days of cave people, and that's why they didn't have fire. That's why they didn't have good food. They were too busy investing in technology. Of course, you dumbass. But people truly believe it. If they watch it, it must be real.
Right.
Especially if it's Fox News.
It's on TV. It must be.
Well, people are encouraged. That behavior is encouraged.
Yeah.
Even on Facebook. If it's in a meme, it must be true.
It's repeated over and over again.
If the meme has facts, those are true facts. No, I saw it on a meme. No, it's true. Look.
Oh my God.
And they'll even send you the meme like, well what is that? That has nothing to do with it.
On my Facebook page, the one is Michael Coos and the other one is After Dark. We talked to Mike. I've had people send me memes and tell me, you got to check this out. This is awesome. This is true. And I'm like, ugh. And then I'll get that same meme because I have like 4,400 friends. And I'm like, I'll get the same meme 4 or 5 times. Sometimes they remove from timeline, because I don't like having 6 of the same thing in a row.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, I've experienced that myself. It's got to be real. You should check this out.
We're really in trouble when you look at the quality of reality shows.
Oh yeah,
Jesus.
Oh jeez.
We've had discussions about clowns.
I think, what is it about clowns and guys? It has come out more than just a handful of times that a lot of men have a thing about clowns.
Oh yeah.
And is there another like height challenge? Is that the PC term for midget or dwarf?
I think they prefer little people.
Little people.
Well, I tell you,
we got things about that too. Although I think Game of Thrones is doing wonders. Tyrant is great.
Oh,
So,
that's cool. That is cool.
Peter Dinklage.
Dinklage.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went to a Barnum Bailey circus once. Me and my younger brother and a couple other guys, mostly to protest the treatment of the animals.
Right.
And as we were there, these clowns started walking up to where we were at, and my brother turned around and just caught him out of the corner of his eye, and he jumped backwards. He goes, "Stay away from me, or I'll kill you!" And he was honestly afraid. I was like, "Dude, what's with you and clowns?" But as they got closer, I too began to. Yeah, it was kind of odd. I like clowns in the insane clown posse way, but regular clowns scare the shit out of me.
Well, I think it has something to do with...
They'll show up at the studio outside. Dr. Mike, come here. Shoot him, Mike, shoot him.
I think it really has to do with the phony smile.
Well, that and the fact that they've hidden themselves.
Stephen King's
Yeah.
Well, that and they hide
scary.
themselves. You can't see who or what they are. They're painted white like death. Well, the actual death would be more of a skeleton, but you know what I'm saying.
Right.
But, yeah.
Technologists have a term. It's called the uncanny valley. And they use it when it comes to computer animation and androids, robots, things like that.
You told
robotics.
me about this before, yeah.
Now, the uncanny valley is when it's a little too real or just a little too odd. It looks in a way that's just not quite right. And that's the uncanny valley. And
it's unsettling.
It very unsettling. Mm-hmm. It makes you... It activates that center of your brain to where it's fear and goes straight to violence or hatred. It's just right there. But it's called the uncanny valley, and I think that clowns play upon that.
Well, it's like if you ever been on YouTube and looked up the 10 worst anime shows ever, and it gets into like Lolicon, Loliticon, and Rubicon, and all these things, and they show you clips. They don't show you the dirty parts, but they show you, and it really is. It's like, you're like, who the hell would come up with something like this? This is like grotesque. This is bizarre.
The Japanese.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah.
The hentai. Oh, it's twisted.
Oh, it is. And
that and the eels. Oh, I can't unsee that. Yeah, I just can't unsee that.
Exactly. And you're like, who would come up with something? What kind of mind? Do they actually do this? Like Criminal Minds kind of stuff? The FBI...
BAU.
Yeah, Behavior Analysis Unit. Do they get involved in this stuff? Because some of these people are fucked up.
Well, weren't you telling me that in Japan they had vending machines for girls' underwear.
Oh, yes.
And there was previously worn girls' underwear.
Yes.
And you could put your money in the machine and you... What?
Oh, yeah.
Why would you want that?
Oh, they have,
How is that even appealing?
That was part of the internet lore way back when it first kind of came out. The weird, strange things that were being sold over the internet.
yeah, you could order soiled panties and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, this is all real stuff.
I don't know if you remember that series, Real Sex,
Yeah.
on HBO way back when, a few years ago. And probably about 10 years. And they had like a beauty pageant queen, a beauty queen, and you could buy her underwear, and it's been used. Well, and they showed it. It's like she's in her front room, and she puts on the steps into the underwear, pulls it up, and then takes it down. And pulls them up and takes them down. She does that all day long to get the number that she needs to ship out for an order. That's what that means. And then they'd mix up some concoction to I won't even go there, but
Well,
anyway,
you remember,
use your imagination.
well, do you remember
and put
Uncle
it in there.
Nasty and Bitch in Denver? The fantastic radio show. Fantastic radio show. Loved that show. It was Uncle Nasty and his sidekick, Bitch. Well, Bitch had a guy who broke into Britney Spears' dressing room when she was doing a concert and stole her underwear, her bras, her panties, and a few other things. And they were selling them on the air. Or they really weren't selling them. I guess they were giving them away as call in and you can win this. And on the air live while they were doing it, you hear this beating sound. Boom, 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 boom. And Uncle Nasty turns around and goes, well, who's trying to get in the studio? And Bitch is like, well, they're not supposed to do that. And all of a sudden the door opens. You just hear it rip off the hinges. It was the Denver PD. They arrested him on the air and recovered her stuff. And you can't get much more real than that. I mean, people will do anything, and their phone lines were crashing with people wanting them.
Oh yeah. Of course, you
maybe
and I
we
would
should do that for this show.
You and I would call that receiving stolen property.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's kind of illegal.
Well, maybe we should do that for After Dark with Dr. Mike. Hi. This particular pair of socks was worn at Red Crags during the haunted show that we did. And there's a pair of my there's a pair of my long johns when we were on a Pikes Peak tour to do a show. And anybody, I probably wouldn't sell anything though. It kind of sucks. Yeah, whatever. Or we could have Gwen do it.
No. No, thank you.
Hey Gwen, can I buy you something? Well, it looks like we're running out of time. Time flies when you're having fun and being weird.
It does.
Well, that's what makes this show so cool is we take off going north and we wind up going south. You know, that's the perfect thing about it. When every direction in between.
You just never know where we're going to end up.
Yeah, and how much editing you're going to have to do. So
not too much tonight. Not
cool.
too much.
Absolutely cool. Well, this is After Dark with Dr. Mike. I'm Dr. Michael Coots, and of course, Mr. Marty Menez, the man behind the machine, the man behind the curtains at Oz, the one and the only. Thanks, Marty.
Thank you.
And our own news lady, Gwen, who brings us the kind of news that you cannot unhear. Once you've heard it, it's there, and you'll think about it and perseverate on it and go, damn, there's some weird-ass people in this world. And we thank you for that. It's always a gift. I think you've got like 3,000 pages.
I've got quite a few.
Yeah, probably over 3,000. And these are just the ones that really became newsworthy. So Gwen is our official news person for the news that you're not going to hear anywhere else. Maybe Huffington Post. I don't know. But
hot spots.
Yes, hot spots. The weird news. So, Marty, thank you so much for putting it together as always. And thank you, Gwen, for giving us the news that keeps on giving.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr.
And thanks
Mike.
for joining us on After Dark with Dr. Mike. Until next show, bye.
Adios.
Bye.